We all know that load shedding in place again. We've had a few days without load shedding, back in play again this weekend. Good news, though, if you're a City Power customer, you'll want to listen to this discussion. City Power saying you're not going to be impacted by power cuts. Eskom, we know, stage 2 blackouts from last night, expected to last until Monday morning. Spokesperson for City Power, it's Isaac Mangena joining us. Hello to you, Isaac. A good afternoon for a Sunday. Thanks for your time. How is it possible that Eskom has power cuts in place but not going to affect City Power residents and customers? Help me understand.
Thanks, Gareth. Look, as City Power, as the City of Johannesburg, in fact, we have signed a power purchase agreement with Kelvin to ensure that we get extra capacity of up to 260 megawatts of electricity from Kelvin Power Station to ensure that we actually cushion the residents of the City of Johannesburg from Eskom's load shedding. So that we are actually putting it in place to ensure that we deal with this issue. We thought it would happen later, but it happened sooner. So we decided that as the city, we're not going to load shed because of that extra capacity that we're getting from Kelvin Power Station.
Help those viewers that are watching right now, Isaac, understand that our City Power residents, we promoted this interview and we've got City Power residents telling us that they are currently experiencing blackouts and they did last night. So what do you tell them?
There are those residents, especially in Rambek area, who currently have a planned maintenance that is happening. So they are off because of that planned maintenance that City Power is actually undertaking. So it's not load shedding as per, because if it was load shedding, it would take 2 hours like the schedule would actually give. So, but there are also those that are having localized outages that we have appealed to them to basically log the calls so that we can dispatch technicians. So they shouldn't think that when they don't have the lights, it is load shedding. So they should log the call so that we are able to dispatch technicians to attend to those. We also have those customers around Midrand who, you know, we've got those border suburbs, if you can put it that way, like Midrand, where Allendale substation is operated by Eskom. So Eskom, when they load shed, they are able to basically put them off as well. But it's not because of that City Power is actually load shedding them.
So help me understand, I was always under the impression, Isaac, and this is where you and I have spoken before, I'm not an engineer, I don't know really how Eskom and City Power works, but I was under the impression that even though City Power does do the billing, etc., slightly differently and separately from Eskom, Eskom provides the power, the electricity, which City Power then taps off on. So how are you getting a different electrical source?
Take it as a client and customer kind of like a setup. So City Power buys electricity from Eskom. So you buy 4 loaves of bread. You've got a supply of 4 loaves of bread every week from your supplier. But then you buy an oven. You decide to bake your own bread in your house. So you tell the supplier that instead of 4 loaves of bread, give me 2, because now I've got nice scones that I'm baking from my own house because of this new oven that I bought. So that's basically what it is. So City Power as a municipality, City of Johannesburg, buys electricity from Eskom, distributes to its customers. So we buy that electricity from Eskom and then we distribute to our customers. So when we've got extra capacity, which is what the president said actually, that now we can actually have independent power producers coming on board. We can actually get other role players to basically, diversify, move away from the over-dependence on Eskom. So this is what we are doing with Kelvin Power Station. Tomorrow it will be Gareth Edwards electricity supplies. We will buy electricity from there. So we are getting extra capacity that we will ensure that when Eskom's got problems like they are now with load shedding, we are able to basically say, no, we are able to take care of the customers of the City of Johannesburg. So that is the relationship that we're having with Eskom, and that every other municipality that Eskom is supplying is a customer and client kind of relationship.
I think it's actually very good news, especially for those that get blackouts regularly. I want to just talk to you about the legal action that we're hearing City Power is going to take against Eskom. But just before we do that, help me understand when it comes to how long you're able to sustain this plan you have in place? I love the analogy of the 4 loaves of bread, for example. Helps people like me understand what you're talking about. So right now, City Power is assisting their clients. How sustainable is this? Because we're having blackouts continuously and for longer periods of time. How sustainable is this plan of yours?
Currently from Kelvin Power Station, we are getting up about 180 megawatts of electricity, and we can pump that to about 260 megawatts of electricity. So they've got extra capacity to basically ensure that we deal, not even stage 1 and 2, we can actually go up to stage 4. But we do also have contractual obligations with Eskom, who are our main supplier of electricity. But every time we bring in new players, like I said, tomorrow we might actually start bringing in other independent power producers. We are writing to Eskom. We will tell Eskom that this is what we are doing. So when you are actually having challenges, the city of Johannesburg will have that capacity to ensure that we deal with, we are able to basically ensure that the lights are on for our customers. So that is exactly what we are going to do, and we are confident with the capacity that we're getting from Kelvin Power Station, and we are also looking at other sources, like I said, other players who may come on board to basically say we can actually sell you electricity. We are also looking at that what we call prosumer tariff, whereby if you've got extra capacity, let's say for example, most of the big retail shops, they've got solar panels on their in their space, so they can actually generate extra capacity that they can sell back to City Power. So that will actually ensure that we actually have more capacity in our grid. So it is as simple as that, Gareth.
So, Isaac, it sounds like what City Power is doing is what Eskom should have been doing all these years. It sounds like you've actually got some practical solutions for residents. I want to ask about this, this threat of legal action from City Power aimed at Eskom. What is that about? What legal action and why?
It's actually not City Power per se, but it's the City of Johannesburg as the shareholder, the main shareholder, the owners of City Power. They believe that Eskom is being unfair in refusing to basically exclude the residents of the City of Johannesburg from the load shedding that they are actually having currently. Eskom basically said, no, we cannot exclude the City of Johannesburg from this load shedding because of we don't trust that the extra capacity that you claim to be getting from Kelvin can actually sustain you. But we have been actually on this trial run with Kelvin for the past 3 months, Gareth. Even though we signed the power purchase agreement a few weeks ago, we actually have been on a trial run with Kelvin Power Station for the past 3 months to ensure that we are able, we are confident even ourselves. So when we wrote to Eskom, we included the technical report from Kelvin that actually proves that we actually there is that capacity that we will be able to offset stage 1 and stage 2 as per Eskom's request. So there is that issue that we're basically looking at. So the City of Johannesburg is planning to basically take Eskom to court.